I would now like to bring our third speaker for today's event to the floor, Dr. Andre Bavailo. Andrii is Director of Deep Pharma Intelligence, as well as a co-founder of Biopharma Trend, a reputable analytics portal focused on early stage companies and emerging technologies in the pharma space. Andrii holds a PhD in physical chemistry, and he is a pharmaceutical industry expert and the author of multiple industry reports and papers, including publications in Forbes, whose work is often cited by various leading organizations and industry experts, including Deloitte. I believe that Andrii will be delivering an overview today of Deep Pharma Intelligence's upcoming projects and overall strategic agenda for 2021. Dr. Buvailo, it's our pleasure to have you today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Franco, for the kind of introduction, and thank you everyone for joining on our webinar today. And I'd like to indeed go through some findings and highlights of what we're going to do with the future reports. First of all, as Franco told, my name is Andre Bavailo. I'm leading Deep Pharma Intelligence, and this company is a joint venture between Deep Knowledge Analytics, the leading UK-based company active in the industry analytics on pharma and biotech, the biotech industries, and Biopharma Trend, of which I'm a co-founder. The Biopharma Trend is a market analytics agency and digital media portal, which is specifically focusing on early stage companies and emerging trends in therapeutics development and technology adoption by the pharma industry. Today, I'd like to very briefly highlight some conclusions that we have provided yesterday. So if you want to revisit yesterday's presentation, you can do so by contacting us, or we will alternatively send a link with the video recording. But today I just very briefly highlight some of the findings that we have made. So essentially, the industry is growing, and one of the parameters that we take into account when assessing the actual growth and dynamics of the trend is the amount of collaborations and the actual traction, which is reflected by the collaboration of big pharma companies, the leading players in this industry, with the newcomers and the AI developers. Such AI developers, they include biotech companies which develop their drug design platforms. They include AI vendors and other players with whom big pharma are trying to cooperate to sort of gain expertise and strategically grow. So this growth has been quite significant over the last years. The industries and the landscape of collaborations is fairly diverse. A lot of different deals in many aspects, ranging from ontology buildings and literature analysis to biological research, target identification, hit discovery, and clinical research. All sorts of deals happen in this area, and the leading pharma companies, as Dmitry presented in the first presentation, are basically Pfizer, Bayer, Roche, Johnson & Johnson, and some other companies, judging by the amount of R&D collaborations, direct investments, and merger and acquisitions. But important conclusion that was made yesterday is that a new type of players is coming to the industry, and they include, first of all, big tech corporations like IBM, Baidu, Tencent, Google, those type of players who are traditionally not focused on pharma, but now they sort of leverage their AI expertise, and they manage to, let's say, grow into this industry, healthcare space, and even basic research with their technologies, because AI is giving them the edge and then they sort of invest in some biotech specific companies and acquire knowledge in this biology, domain specific biology area, and then they can potentially grow and even compete with leading pharmaceutical, like native pharmaceutical players. Another very important part of this ecosystem is AI powered lab automation companies and companies that provide essentially a robotization of the experimental research. This is kind of new trend, and in this regard, now you can basically remotely control an experiment in a lab which is situated somewhere in a different country, and then all the data is being analyzed and guided by the AI systems, and a lot of stuff can be robotized and automated. So this is the next level of contract research, which is basically a very important trend, and AI is playing the central role here. Another two type of players very important to note here are big data providers and infrastructure providers. The thing is, now in the era of AI, pharma becomes kind of dependent on this type of players because AI thrives on data, and now for the first time, like in decades, it is really possible to take advantage of let's say electronic health records or genomics data, or data collected from different devices, wearable healthcare devices, etc. And essentially, these kind of players like biobanks, genomics testing companies, and other EHR record keeping companies, etc., they become kind of strategic partners to pharma because they provide data necessary for the R&D and drug discovery research. And finally, infrastructure providers like Amazon, Google Cloud, and Microsoft Azure, etc., they are becoming the determining parties in this field in terms of technology. Without them, it could be impossible to do the large-scale AI analytics project. And the industry is kind of packed with collaborations between these newcomers and the large pharma companies and smaller biotechs. AI is not just a tool, it's an enabler of new business models. And I just very briefly want to say that new business models arise as a consequence of AI adoption. Let's say some companies build the whole new pipeline of drug discovery, the end-to-end systems not available before some 10 years ago. And now they are able to kind of make a drug discovery in one consecutive process, from starting with the literature search and ending up with a drug candidate, a preclinical drug candidate. And this is something that is pharma is very actively hunted for, and some of the examples are shown here, like in Silicon Medicine, deep genomics fields. They are leading the pack in this end-to-end AI-enabled drug discovery. Another trend is, as I said, is robotization, where the whole experiment can be done using manipulators, robotized systems, as some screening programs can be done this way, and instructions can be sent, and basically data can be analyzed using large-scale AI systems. And finally, AI is the enabler of so-called federated learning, which is essentially a new way to train models on the shared data provided by different suppliers, and without compromising their trade secrets. This is a new norm and a new trend in the training large-scale machine learning models. So some of the takeaways I already outlined here, they are on this slide. And you can basically access data about a lot of collaborations by visiting our platform and requesting access. And it's a lot of deals and collaborations that profiled in the platform. Regarding some of our plans, we are planning to expand on the topic of AI and drug discovery. In particular, we will soon publish a report focusing on the oncology area. And then we will soon update our rating on the leading AI companies in this area. So stay tuned for these reports in the AI, and we are open for collaboration and inputs by the players. Of course, we are very active in the profiling investment trends, and so the new investment digest report will be updated in the next quarter with the actual actionable information. Also, we would like to introduce a number of other reports that we are now preparing. This is the profiling of technology landscape in the industry, those newcomers that I mentioned before, big tech companies, robotization lab automation companies, and infrastructure providers. And also, we are now delving into some other areas of the pharmaceutical research, which we believe will be extremely growing in the coming years, like stem cell in healthcare and next generation therapeutics. It's a wave of new, let's say, type modalities, therapeutic modalities that is now growing and present a lot of investment opportunities. And finally, we are open for collaboration on all of the reports and joint analytic projects, and also on some marketing initiatives. So feel free to reach us to learn more. With that, I'm concluding my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Andrii. Very informative indeed. I'm curious as to the overall distribution of the projects and the reports that you outlined, which ones will be proprietary and which ones will be open access available for all viewers, as well as your general approach at Deep Pharma Intelligence in terms of dividing things between open access and proprietary. To me, it seems as though, once you've developed a certain breadth and depth of analytics on a specific topic, you take some of it and allow it to be proprietary, but you take a little bit off the top, per se, some of the key findings and make that freely available. Would you say that that's the case?
Yeah, sure. First of all, we are kind of trying to set some, some trends here in terms of presenting the leaders of the pack in each of the growing areas in pharma. So our task is to inform public about these leaders, about the benchmarking that needs to be taken into account in order to be able to see through the hype, which is also present in the AI in particular. And so we do publish some open access data and on the key findings. But in order to kind of delve more deeply into, into the specifics maybe on the due diligence of the companies or specific micro trends, we are also preparing commercial analytics, which is very broad and kind of deep insights. And also, we are going to offer the software as a service model, where the customer can basically access our analytics, big data analytics platform, and essentially mine the data by themselves and see they can leverage this platform to find an opportunities, investment targets, or anything else. So this is kind of three elements in this model.
Okay, well, makes a lot of sense, and lucky for us that model includes some open access and proprietary reports, which, judging by the presentations today, look indeed quite insightful. Well, thank you very much, Andrii. I look forward to bringing you back for the panel discussion.